Hello and welcome to today's discussion. My name is Kevin Rockwell with Kevin Rockwell Marketing, and joining me today will be a Oakland, California probate attorney, George Derieg, who represents clients who need estates and a trust, but also the important backing and assistance in the probate process. Welcome, George. Can you tell us a little bit about you and your practice?
Thanks for having me, Kevin. Yes, my practice is just a trust in estates. I do estate planning and probate. My home office is in Alameda, California. I handle probate throughout the entire Bay Area, including Oakland, California.
So can you just list off the various counties that you can represent clients in?
Sure, absolutely. I handle probate cases in Solano County, Santa Clara, San Joaquin County, Alameda County, my home base, and San Francisco County, also Contra Costa.
So is there any real difference in how that kind of law is practiced in these various principalities, or is it fairly uniform across those counties?
It's pretty uniform. However, certain counties have certain rules, and different counties have a lot more funding. And depending on the funding, the probate examiners who look over all the petitions, if they're adequately staffed, then things are usually easier to deal with. However, some counties are really hurting for money. So I think it's just important to have an attorney that's really on their game and understands each county's little peccadillos and understand how to move a case along swiftly.
Well, before we get into the details of what the probate process is and what that means for families who need to utilize your services, tell me a little bit about knowing which counties have the money, but also knowing the particular people who are handling the cases in the counties. Tell me about the benefits of that in your practice.
The people handling the cases in that county?
Yeah, so knowing them, knowing
Sure.
whether they have short-staffed and therefore how to expedite for your clients.
Here's the best thing I can always advertise to my clients. When I walk into a courtroom, the judges know me. Whether it be Solano County, San Joaquin County, or Santa Clara County, of course Alameda, you need to have a lawyer that is known, that people are comfortable with. Not just the judges, but also the court staff, the court clerks, the people that work in the court office, the probate examiners, also probate referees, the people that appraise homes. It's important to be familiar with all these people and for them to be familiar with you and your attorney.
I would have to say that the analogy maybe to the real estate business, where a realtor needs to be connected and know the people all along the process, whether it's in the mortgage, the banking, the appraisal process. It sounds like you're speaking of a similar type of connection that can help benefit your clients because you are a known entity and they know and you know the process.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about the probate process. If someone doesn't understand where and when that kicks in, and sort of the why, and then we can go into the what happens.
So the probate process, it's pretty complicated. What happens is someone passes away, and either they have a will or they don't have a will. Whatever they don't have a probate avoiding estate plan. So let's just say usually it's someone that dies, they don't have a will, and they own a home. The family doesn't know what to do. So the process starts with filing a petition. A family member will step up to the plate and say, okay, I'll take control. They'll work hand in hand with another attorney. They'll file a petition to be appointed as an administrator. Now, when they file a petition, it takes usually about 30 to 45 days between the date they actually file to the day they actually step into court. After they file the petition, they also have to work with the attorney to publish notice in a newspaper. Once they actually go to court, the first court date, hopefully they're appointed as administrator at that court date. What's important about that court date is when they're appointed, 4 months need to run to give creditors adequate notice to make a valid creditor's claim against the estate. The day after that 4-month runs, the attorney must file a motion to close the estate. What's important is during those 4 months, I will meet with my clients constantly, at least once a month. That way we have all our ducks in a line. We understand everything that needs to get done. If we need to sell a home, we'll sell a home. If we need to change retitle property, we'll retitle property into the name of the estate. But we'll do it within those 4 months, because I don't believe creditors should have not one more day in order to file a claim. One day after the 4-month runs, I file a motion to close the estate. Usually it takes 30 to 45 days for that. All in all, it's usually a 6 to 8 month process because the courts are really backed up. However, we try and close it as soon as humanly possible. Once the estate is closed and the judge signs off on my motion, then we could redistribute the estate after all the creditors have been paid.
So what you're describing is a process that is laid out. There is a certain calendar for the process for everybody that goes through it. But it can be expedited by being on top of matters, as you say, filing that motion to close immediately, and properly negotiating with any creditors out there. Is this the case for all attorneys that someone might hire out there, or can the process go on much longer, perhaps if they have a busy calendar or unable to give the personal service that you're talking about?
I've seen probate cases the last years, Kevin, and that's a problem. So it's important to hire an attorney that knows, that keeps deadlines, and that also calls clients back. The number one complaint lawyers have is that they don't call their clients back. And I usually answer the phone, but if I don't answer, I'm going to call them back immediately. Or if they want to email me, I'll email them back immediately. In fact, a client emailed me last night at 2 a.m. and I woke up because I have kids, and I saw an email and I responded back to her within about 20 minutes. So that's not always the case if you email me in the middle of the night. However, I'm always going to respond almost immediately.
Well, I would have to imagine that got a rather pleasant response from your client, getting that quick of a response on something like that. But yeah, you can't promise people you'll answer at 3 in the morning. But
Well,
nevertheless, if you can.
The problem is probate's really complicated, and clients don't know what's going on. They don't understand every step has a reason. And my biggest philosophy is I need to educate all my clients, and they need to know everything that's going to happen. Each step of the way, they need to know everything. And that's important to me, because then they won't feel a lot of anxiety. Because probate, when you take a step back, it's about someone who's passed away. And not only is it about gathering all their information, their assets, their debts, but it's also mourning the loss of a loved one. So it's important to tread lightly, but at the same time, keep everyone informed.
I would, as you mentioned, this is a difficult time for families and for the folks that you're your clients, and so giving them that peace of mind of actually being responsive, giving them as much education as you can, and making the process efficient has to be a big deal to folks that are in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And that way, that's why I always offer free consultations, and I don't put a time limit on them. Sometimes I'll say 30 minutes, but people want to come in and they need to vent. And they need to discuss a lot of things, and I just say free consultations for all my potential probate clients. And sometimes they can last up to 2 hours, but that's fine. I think it's important for clients to feel comfortable with me, because we're going to have a relationship for at least 8 to 12 months, and it's important that they feel comfortable with me, and I answer all their questions.
And at the end of the process, I mean, in general, at the end of the probate process, are people generally satisfied? I mean, I'm not even talking about outside of your practice, but I mean, do people walk away from the probate process happy and satisfied, or frustrated because they had to go through this?
You know, probate fees are expensive, and so I'm sure they're not really happy to pay probate fees. However, I do offer some discounts if you qualify. People are usually happy because I get these things done really fast. I think 100% of my clients that get estate plans, they're very happy, and they're able to rest assured that they'll never have to go through probate, and their children and their beneficiaries will never have to go through probate. So, yes, my probate clients are pretty darn happy because they're always informed and they know what's going on. And before we even walk into court, they know what's going to happen, usually. So they're usually pretty happy. However, it's expensive. So it's much better to make sure that you have an estate plan ahead of time.
Well, let's just talk about you versus your competition. What you provide, do you think that's a differentiator in the marketplace, that you're providing a service and giving a level of education and knowledge to your clients that allows them to feel more comfortable and satisfied at the end of the process?
Yeah, I think I'm very flexible with my time, and I can meet clients in the evening. I can meet them early in the morning. I'll do home visits if they want. Sometimes I meet on the weekends. So I think that really differentiates myself with my other competition, because I'm always there for my clients, and I'm always readily available to make an appointment and go the extra mile and go to their homes if they want.
So let's talk about what people can do to prevent having to get to that part of the process. As you talked about, estates and trusts can put things in order so that it doesn't have to fall into the probate process. Can you talk a little bit about that service and how it's so important for someone to set up?
Sure, absolutely. It's very important to have an estate plan, whether you have a large estate or if you don't own a home or you don't have kids. I think it's very important for everyone to have a trust. A full estate plan includes a living revocable trust, a last will and testament, a durable power of attorney in case you become incapacitated and someone needs to handle your finances, and a medical directive and living will in case you're incapacitated and you want someone to make decisions for you while you're unconscious.
And so if these are put in place properly ahead of time, should, when a relative or a family member passes, you really do avoid all these expensive probate processes.
Probate takes hours and months. If you have a properly executed estate plan, a full estate plan, then it's probably going to be an hour or two of work for your trustees to deal with your estate. Versus hours and months of probate work and huge attorney's fees.
So what would your best guess be about how many people actually have prepared estates and trusts? What do you think the number is in the common population of people that have property and have real value in their estate?
I think I would put it at about 40%, and communities that have higher incomes, much larger, maybe 50 to 60%. But that's just a guesstimate. I mean, really, whenever I go into probate court, it's very busy, which means people are not getting their estate plans done. So I think
that was actually my next question: is when you walk in, is the probate court overwhelmed because of the people that haven't taken care of things?
Unfortunately, it's pretty busy. So what's ironic about my job is I do estate planning, which prevents probate, but I also do probate. So I'm essentially kind of putting myself out of a job. However, I would much rather do estate planning and make sure a family doesn't have to go through the stress of probate than do probate. Keep in mind, though, I love practicing probate because I'm able to help families in really tough situations.
All right. Is there anything else you want to add for today's discussion on the probate process?
No, I think we covered a good amount. I particularly love working in Oakland, California, and I have a lot of really good connections there. And so, I handle all throughout the Bay Area, but Alameda County, especially Oakland, is an area I really love working with. I have a lot of different connections there, including realtors, lenders, handymen, people that need to help maybe sell a property. I'm able to do that really fast and efficiently.
And you are connected to other business service businesses and professionals in a referral network, and you have your local office here in Alameda. Tell us where people can find you and how they can get in touch with you. Absolutely.
I think the easiest way to get a hold of me is through my website, www.eastbayattorney.com. You can also email me at eastbayattorney@gmail.com. You could call my telephone at 510-355-2747. Those are usually the best 3 ways to get a hold of me.
Very good, George. Thank you very much for joining us today and enlightening us about the probate process.
Thanks for having me today, Kevin.
You bet.